What is going on, YouTube? We are back with more MTG Arena content here on the channel. In today's video, we definitely have an interesting battle against one of the new decks that I built. I call this Alien Infestation. I have to say this is probably the most fun I've ever had running this mono green. The Edge of Eternity cards that I put together within this deck went as planned in regards to the title of this deck, pretty much. So before we get started, thank you all for stopping by the channel. If you're new, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you're passing by and want to see more MTG content here, be sure to hit that sub button below. So this deck is nothing but mono green. This deck consists of crazy amount of buffing due to landfalls and tokens. I will say that I like the artwork within the cards. They're very, very nice. I'll talk about some of the cards that I put within this deck that came in clutch for the wins. So, Amudian Terrabotanist was just a go-to card that I threw within this deck, of course. So, we have Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you gain 1 life. So, of course, he's going to give me 1 life every time a land drops. Also, I think I had some other triggering cards that not only just also gained me life, but also gains him life as well. I also threw in some other creature cards that were already big and beefy. That way, whenever they're on the board and I have other triggering cards and abilities, it just buffs them up more. One of those beefy creatures we have here is Frenzied Baloth. He has Trample and Haste, and this spell can't be countered. So, creature spells you control can't be countered, combat damage can't be prevented. So, either way it goes, whenever he attacks, from what it sounds like, my opponent's creatures cannot stop him from going ahead and going through with that combat damage that will be taking place either against my opponent or any creature that is really trying to stop that ability that this card is going to be throwing at them. Germinating Worm was another lovely beefy creature that we put in here. It's going to be gaining me 2 life, and when this creature enters, pretty much it's going to be gaining me 2 life. It is a 5/5, and so I also have, I believe, an enchantment that just makes all of my creatures. Actually, I have an enchantment and a sorcery that makes all of my creatures just crazy huge. And so, thankfully, with me having these 5/5s and I think 6/6s in here, that really gives this deck a 1-up. And this is what I really love, when you have big, beefy creatures that really don't cost that much to put on the board. Glacier Godmaw was another one that I thought was pretty good putting in here. He has Trample, so when this creature enters, create a lander token. And of course, when a land enters, creatures you control get a +1/+1 and gain Vigilance and Haste until the end of turn. And of course, if I sack, if I pay 2 to sack this lander token, of course, I'll have to sack it and look for a basic land, and when I put another basic land card on the field, it's going to continue to buff up those landfall creatures. So pretty much this deck is just centered around land drops and buffing. This had to be my most top favorite card out of this entire deck, and of course when you read it you'll know why. It's sorcery, so creatures you control get a +10/+10 and gain Vigilance until the end of turn. This card is the icing on the cake. This is what gave me the biggest win at the last battle within this gameplay. The enchantments that I also added within this deck is also duplicating either those tokens or that triggered ability. So pretty much my opponents don't stand a chance against this deck, honestly, because they're not expecting this like sneak attack from that sorcery of preposterous proportions of just giving all of my creatures that 10/10 on top of the buff from the lands and from the enchantments and whatever else I have. But like I said, this is my most favorite deck that I've made. I give myself a pat on the back for doing this. I think I did really well experimenting with those cards and seeing how well they'll play out within this battle. But anyway, thank you guys so much for stopping by the channel. If you're new, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Let's get into the video.